The Evening Brothers are proud to present Twinkie Talk.
Hello, everybody.
Space bar from
Preston, we're doing a podcast, okay?
Yeah.
We're about to start.
Come
I'm
on.
just kidding. We've already started, and whoever edits this, probably Lincoln, don't cut that out.
Whoever, as if anyone else has
fair.
even downloaded the
That's
audio
a fair
files.
point. I download the audio files, but so I can cut it apart and give you guys like bad reps on the internet.
This is all just an elaborate ploy.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, sorry, I'll shut up. Nope,
No, you know you've done it again. Go ahead. It's an elaborate
Go ahead.
ploy
Go
to
ahead.
what, Preston?
He doesn't
Dead
even
silence. Welcome to Twinkie Talk, film cinematic punishment from three white guys.
know. Brought to you by the Evening
I am
Brothers.
Brother John.
I am Brother Lincoln.
I'm Brother Preston.
I don't know why I started this. It's not my episode, folks. It's somebody else's.
No, this is for sure my episode.
is.
We all watched Blade Trinity, the third installment in the Blade trilogy, and my homework for everyone was to have everyone make a bespoke Blade Trinity drink. And so I want to start by just having everyone describe their drinks and tell me what the experience it was watching the movie while drinking the drink. John, why don't you start?
Okay. Well, I didn't know we were supposed to drink it while the movie, and I really, really wish I did know that. I have it now with me.
Oh, that's fine
so
too. That's fine
this-
too.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. So I actually made two different
Okay.
drinks. The first is, it's got a visual element, but only you guys will appreciate it. I call it Bloody Sunrise.
A bloody sunrise.
And it's,
Wait, let's describe what we see for our listening
Yeah, what you
audience.
got?
There's this kind of gradient from darkish red,
Okay.
and it shifts up to a yellowish at the top.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice looking
Thank
drink.
you.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Okay, so this is essentially a tequila sunrise, which is just like tequila and orange juice, pretty much. But you got like a grenadine or a cherry syrup. I put extra cherry syrup and a couple extra cherries too for a little, fang bites to be exact. And that
yeah.
was
I
the
like
extent
it.
of my creativity, but it is delicious and I do highly recommend. And then the other one is this, which is a bottle of straight tequila that has been now used and is filled with just tap water, because that is, I think, a great metaphor for Ryan Reynolds in this movie. Because it's beautiful on the outside, and then once you see what's inside and what it brings to the table, it's very disappointing.
Wow, yeah. Apropos. Okay, Preston, why don't you go ahead?
So mine, I did not quite totally
drink.
invent my own, because I do not believe that this movie deserves its own bespoke custom cocktail for the amount of blandness
Okay,
that
so
it is.
you philosophically disagree with the premise of the homework?
I do, yes.
Okay.
However, I decided to rename a drink in honor of the movie. So this here is a vampire Pomeranian, which is based on a
Creative.
cocktail called a blinker, which is rye, whiskey, grapefruit juice, and the really red stuff, grenadine.
Really red stuff.
You did make this
blood.
drink.
Yes.
Blood.
And grenadine, so you get that nice, it's a little more pink in person, but that nice sort of red color.
That is a deep shade of red. I'm appreciating that very much.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It definitely looks a little more red on the camera. It's a little more pink in person, but very happy with it. Pretty
And it
tasty.
looks bright blue to everyone listening. Lincoln, I see you did your own homework.
Yes, I did. So I made a drink. So the kind of inspiration was take something that is actually good and then add kind of meaningless frivolity to the end of it.
Sure.
So I made what I am dubbing a Trinitini. And it's just a dry martini with 3 slices of strawberry inside.
Okay. I respect that. So what's making it just blood red?
Oh, I think it really isn't that red in real
okay.
life, but
All right. Because it looks...
it's actually kind of like a faint golden color, and the strawberries are tinting the glass.
Okay, I actually have 2 comments. One, it is an incredible dark, deep red from my perspective, and 2, ice has never
really
been
funny.
louder than this moment.
Oh, in Preston's drink.
I don't know whose it is, but it's somebody's.
Mine doesn't have ice in it.
Okay, it's Preston.
My bad.
We're gonna keep all those in, just so you know, Preston. We want everyone to hear every clink. It's pretty classy, the clink of ice in a cocktail
Yeah,
glass.
it really is. It's good for an audio medium too. So Lincoln, had you seen this movie? Did you know what you were doing
No.
to us?
No, so actually I watched Blade on Saturday, then I watched Blade 2 yesterday, and then I watched Blade Trinity today, and drank my cocktail. So this is the second one I've had today.
Yeah, I should also say I did not get the memo about drinking it during the movie.
Represent.
So I'm enjoying mine now.
Yeah, me too, man.
That's fine. I want updates on how it's doing and how it's treating you.
It's treating me pretty good. It's pretty strong. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, you certainly have
Yeah, so
a big
this is
enough
going to be a
glass
good
of it.
podcasting experience.
So Lincoln
Okay,
made us
so,
watch a movie that he hadn't even seen yet.
Yeah, which
No, I just knew that it would have the kind of 2000s terrible grunge that we all crave in this podcast.
yeah, crave is a fun word for what we have for this.
Yeah, that's a strong word.
So I guess we'll get started talking about the actual movie.
seems
So
like a good plan.
I think we'll start chronologically, and then whenever we run out of steam, we'll switch to just general thoughts.
I like it.
Excellent.
Okay, so the first note I have was Ryan Reynolds' voice was not the right way to start this movie. Because you hear this whiny nasal man, and I just already assumed that he's Deadpool and that he is narrating as Deadpool as whoever this character is.
Definitely. But where Deadpool seems to be alive and a person who has fun, this character, I do not know his name. Actually, I'll give $10 to anybody who could even slightly name this character without looking it up.
Hannibal
Son
King.
of a bitch. Okay.
We got that
I
recorded.
just called him Deadpan the whole time. That's all I gave him.
Deadpan.
Yeah.
Deadpan is being generous.
Thank you.
That's very generous of you. A little too generous.
Yeah, that was a dumb way to start this movie. That's not a good call. What do you think they were thinking? Because this hit me very similarly to the end of Constantine, where it's just like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this at all?
I had that about
Like,
2 minutes into the
why
movie.
is there a narration?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could talk about it in the context of the other two, because the other two have really good opening scenes. Like, really, really fun opening
I'm
scenes.
trying
And
to
this one
think.
just felt so generic in comparison.
The first one has the blood rave. What is the second one?
It's the blood rave. The second one is the blood bank with the evil vampire monster attacks the other vampires.
Oh yeah. That is a
in
good
the
one.
like
Man, that movie's
in the
so
surgery room, and then it cuts to Blade running down the like alleyway fighting off vampires as he goes.
good. And this has an equally cool opening of some people doing
Of
some
a bunch of people
things.
going into like a Indiana Jones crypt.
Yeah, and picking up the most styrofoam looking rock I've ever seen.
I was about to say the two things I remember from that scene are styrofoam rock and dude flipping off the sun.
Oh, he does flip off the sun. Yeah, I made a note of that. I thought that was a wild choice.
Yeah, I said middle finger towards the screen is how I feel about this movie as well. I just was right back at you, buddy. Like,
Do you feel like he does that just everywhere he goes? Like, is that just like, or is it like what could have possibly possessed them to think we're gonna make a movie and that the first character note of anything is gonna be a guy flipping off the sun? I guess
Well,
to
how
show
else
vampires.
Were we supposed to know that they're vampires
Okay.
until they take
Yeah.
off their masks and suddenly they are very vampiric looking?
Right.
just like the second movie, I think I'm going to be saying that phrase quite often.
no.
Just like the second movie, this opening scene introduces an evil, worse version of a vampire. And this movie does it in the way of having him jump out and then the lights start strobing for no apparent reason at all. And the whole reason they're strobing is because their monster design is the stupidest thing I've ever seen
Now
in my life.
hold the fuck on, because I actually take umbrage with that, because I made a note very early on that said Dracula's design is too cool for him to look like this the whole movie, and 2 seconds later he became Dominic Purcell. So disagree.
Do we
Okay,
ever
I
actually
think-
get to see him like fully kitted out in his costume besides that
No.
like strobing
Besides the
opening?
strobe, not
like
at all.
after that I feel like it's just like in the office and he just sort of like prances around it.
Well, he Dracula's out at the very, very end, but he doesn't have his armor.
Oh, I see what
in
you're
the end.
asking. I was like, did you not watch the last 6 minutes of this movie?
No, I did, but
But no, he doesn't have the armor.
he just
That's
never
true.
okay, he never looks that cool again.
No, that is very
No.
true. Yeah.
Right, that's okay, that's the point I'm trying to make.
And it is very much a Skeletor vibe
Yeah.
here.
You say that like it's a bad thing,
he
and
is
I'd
a-
like to dig into that because that's kind of the vibe I go for on the reg. So I'm not sure what to do.
I feel like Blade 1, that all the monsters are just humans more or less. Like it doesn't like invest a lot of time or energy into making you like see them as monsters. But Blade 2 like give you this wonderful new alley of like this body horror and all these prosthetics and cool like CGI biology of these new vampire creatures. And then the third one's like, no, he's just like the Skull King. And then he's there, and then he turns into who? Dominic Purcell?
Purcell.
Is that his
That's
name?
the actor's name. I don't know. I assume no. His name's Drake in the movie. A thing
His
I
name-
remember.
Can we just agree to not call him
I
Drake?
think-
I just really
I think we're gonna have to.
Really,
Can,
I
actually,
really don't
can we
want
call
to.
him Dracula? Is that a possibility?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Dracula's derogatory enough, I think.
I also just made the connection between Drake and Dracula.
Just hit you.
It really, yeah, it
Just
just
now?
hit me. Like Drake makes more sense why they would pick such a lame name for.
Although I do like in your mind, it was like this is Nosferatu, and we call him Derek.
Right. No. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what was going on.
What happens next, Lincoln? What's the next thing? That
Okay,
happened
so
in this movie?
next we cut to Blade in a almost like beat for beat carbon copy of his entrance fight in the second
Oh,
movie.
is that why? Because I saw this and I was like, this is kind of a cool scene. That makes more sense now.
Yes, because he chases people out of the building and then they jump out and land and they try to get on motorcycles and then he takes them down one by one. So I've noticed, I want to know what you guys think about it, but the first two movies have iffy at best CGI. And because the CGI is kind of iffy, they're really, really sparing with when they go all out with it. And it ends up actually reading pretty well. Like both movies have a few really rough moments, but for the most part, they hold up. This movie has much, much better CGI, but it's so much better that I don't think they had any idea like how to use it well.
I
mean,
totally
that's why
agree.
there's a vampire Pomeranian in it. 'Cause they said, hey,
Yeah,
we got all this
like-
budget and we don't know what to do with it. How about we make a Pomeranian into a vampire?
I like that
And
they
have
like
3 mouths for no reason.
they ended this movie and they're like, we're actually under budget. Maybe we got to put 100 vampire dogs into this.
Hey, we should have used this more.
And so Blade chases down the vampires and he tries to kill one of them, but oops, turns out this guy, fake vampire
Oh,
teeth.
Lincoln, you've jumped so
And-
far. I have so many thoughts on this before we get to that
Before
at
this,
all.
there's literally like 8 shots before what
Let me,
what you're talking
let me
about.
read to you what I thought. Some notes that I took.
Okay,
Note
okay.
1, Blade doing flips is eternally cool. Note number 2,
It is. I
wouldn't
agree.
you want the car to leave the truck facing forward so you don't have to stop all of traffic, turn it around, and then go where you want to go? And then
Yeah, that's
number
true.
3, what is Blade's windshield budget?
Yeah, he breaks his windshield pretty much every
So
movie, doesn't
much of the time does he break his windshield.
he? Maybe he has a car that he knows like has a really specific kind of windshield that he knows where to get for cheap.
Just
the
buys them
dollar-
in
it's-
bulk.
And so like
Yeah.
100% of his car choice is just based on the design of the
Yeah,
windshield.
he gets like a Costco pack of windshields.
of 150 That's why they break so
Yeah.
easily. He gets a discount rate on them.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Costco would probably be like an ideal place for Blade to shop. You get a bunch of wood stakes probably from something.
I think if you let Blade into Costco, there would be a high chance he would turn it into his next secret
That's perfect. He's got
because that's like the only thing he ever uses for layers are big metal warehouses.
perfect. He's got like garlic out the
stacks.
ass. It's the ideal.
I think another thing I want to point out while we're talking about the car, he turns on the UV lights and it just like explodes the vampires in front of him.
Yeah.
UV is so unreasonably effective in this movie, especially, that I don't understand why he has any other weapons.
That was 100%. Several times did I write down like, so we're using wooden stakes even though she's got like some UV laser bow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like literally, you can buy a UV flashlight on Amazon and just explode a vampire. Like, and light goes way faster than bullets. Like you can't miss them because you just point the light at them. Like it's so. In the first two movies, it's like clear in the first one that UV like causes them pain, but not like it doesn't explode
Which
them. It just like sizzles their
Kind
skin.
of makes sense, right?
It's like a way amped up version of like a sunburn.
Yeah.
And then in the second movie, you see that the vampires are like pretty weak against UV, but the actually bad guys are very weak, and they use UV all the time. This movie, all vampires are just endlessly vulnerable to it, and Blade only uses it once.
Well, they have the bullets that explode into UV
The
light.
bullets. That doesn't make
mean-
any sense. You could just shine the UV light if you're already pointing a gun at them.
Lincoln, I'm not disagreeing with you. I was just enjoying the amount of gadgetry in this movie.
I do like. I'm a sucker for gadgets. Like
Way
I
too
like
good.
gadgets, no matter how bad of a movie they're surrounded by.
That's true. I like how little there is of an explanation on how he gets those gadgets, or any of them, really.
Or any money.
Well, they
or
have
like-
a scene where Q like talks him through all this stuff.
Well, sure.
Patton Oswalt as Q.
Where did he go? Where did Patton Oswalt go?
He as a man
Yeah.
or as a character in this
no,
movie.
no, as a man. I know where he went as a character.
I think he does a lot of voiceover work
Does
now.
he? That's cool. Good for him. Anyway.
Okay, let's get back to Blade. Stop talking about people we
Okay,
like.
sorry.
Stop talking about movies we hate.
Back to Blade 3, Out of the Shadows, or whatever this is.
Yeah, so Blade gets set up, and I love this little scene of the familiar taking his little vampire teeth out and just giggling to himself like hee hee. And just I don't know, the image of taking out vampire teeth and then giggling is just so good to
That
me.
is very good.
And he's so upset with himself that he was tricked.
Blade is?
Yeah, I feel like he was really remorseful over the fact that he was tricked with fake vampire teeth.
Which is so great because at no point does he check this guy for having vampire teeth. And then the guy's like, just kidding, I got you. And Blade's like, I killed you because you were with all the other vampires. Like, I would have killed you either way.
It's not like Blade's ever had a problem with killing familiars in any other context.
Yeah, because doesn't he say later
But-
on, like, I've killed 1,000 of them?
I think I wrote down the actual number, so we'll get to that later. So when so Blade gets set up, and then his cool warehouse gets taken, and there's a warrant out for his arrest, and in the warrant has a description, and that is how I know that Blade is canonically 5'8".
Really? Well, how old is Wesley Snipes? How tall is Wesley Snipes?
How old? I don't know. Look it up.
All right, hang on. I'll be back. You kids talk about Blade for a while. I'm going to do some Googling.
I don't
How-
have anything to contribute while we're
How
waiting.
tall did you say he was in the Blade is?
5'8".
5'8"? Wesley Snipes is 5'9". Why would they? Why?
They brought it down 1 inch.
Wouldn't you go the other way?
No, maybe Blade is shorter than the actor that plays
Every
him.
time he kills a vampire, it takes 1/100th of an inch off his height.
That's why when he says he's mortal, he means that there are more vampires than he has fractions of an inch left.
Eventually, he's gonna be just like a tiny little man going around killing vampires.
Still so deadly, but there'll be the last vampire, and then he'll just disintegrate.
Yeah, he's just gonna take him out by the ankles.
I make this note a couple times, and it is you can't just play the cool music and make me feel the cool. Which like it's one of those things where you go, have I been being tricked this whole time? Because every other movie just plays the cool music and I feel the cool, but this movie plays the cool music and I feel like manipulated and shortchanged.
Honestly, yeah.
Accurate.
No, this is just a bad movie, I think is what it is. I don't think you've been gaslit by every other good movie.
Okay, good to know. That's a relief. So next thing we see is a scene where the bad guys are talking to Dracula. Oh, I'm sorry, Dracula.
Thank you.
And he starts off, you see him in the shadows as the really cool skeletal armor Skull King. And he turns into the most boring man you could possibly
He
picture.
sure does. This
Not
is where I
villainous.
wrote. This is where I wrote down Dracula's design is too cool to look that way the whole movie, and then the exact next line is, "Yep, there it is."
And I really, it's another feeling of being shortchanged because I don't understand why this movie, especially like I feel like movies of the 2000s were really afraid to show Dracula as he like really was in the book or like in the source material.
Like a weird monster man.
Like a weird monster man with like a long cape and a suit. And,
Oh, yeah.
Like he lives in a manor all by himself.
Yeah, that's true. It was like Dracula Untold and all those. Like he wanted to be like the cool guy, and this one, I guess, is what they thought they were doing.
You couldn't even finish.
It's
that
not what they
sentence with
did.
a straight
It's
face.
just what they thought. They were like, "Oh, look at this guy. He's what a cool man."
Yeah, I don't know. I just I think actual Dracula would have been scary enough and cool enough to propel the
Well,
movie.
I feel like there's a version of this movie out there where actual Dracula is in it, and it's like cheesy, but in the good way that 1 and 2 are, and not in the bad Ryan Reynolds jokes kind of way.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, you know what?
The next thing that happens,
I just had a thought. If you put Renfield, the Nicolas Cage Dracula from Renfield, into this movie, I think you have the perfect film.
I think
Like,
you
I
would.
think that's as good as it gets. Or if you just take what's that British guy's name? The guy who plays Renfield.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, the other one. He's Beast.
Um,
Nicholas
Oh.
Hoult. Got it. If you take him
Yes.
out of it and then just put Wesley Snipes as Blade in his role, I think that works quite well.
So what you're saying is what would make this movie better is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, well, that's true, and that's true of all movies.
as we always think.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you name a movie that wouldn't be improved by Nicolas Cage? See, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
I
Okay,
got
next
nothing.
scene. We have this like little news spot of this it's like a psychological profiler and the head of police, and they're talking about Blade. And the only reason I bring this up is because the host of the show's name is Bentley Tittle. And I need everyone to know that was his
I
name.
missed that. I missed that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
And the psychological profiler is John Michael Higgins, who is a treasure. It's so nice to see his face
Yeah,
in this
just
movie.
like a small oasis of charisma.
Yeah, just him. Yeah, just this like actually interesting dramatic actor who's also great at character
Yeah,
roles.
like somebody I'd want
And-
to watch a movie about.
I'd want just this shining beacon in the darkness that you're reaching towards.
This movie has some of the. This is just a random thought, and I know we're gonna get to those later. But the next note, this movie has some of the worst like line reads I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, are you referring to Chris Christopherson's line reads? Because I made.
I'm referring to
too.
most of them. Like my exact note was this cast has all the chemistry of a second grader's science fair potato clock.
Chris Christopherson can only deliver good dialogue. And that is what I realized once I heard him try to deliver bad dialogue.
What do you think? Like, did you write down a specific line that made you go, oh, this is not good?
When he was walking towards Blade and talking about that's like, I've been doing this since before you were born. God damn it.
Yeah.
And he just says like damn it at the end of every phrase, and you're like, guys, you can just reference the other 2 movies where you got this character right. Like when did you forget how to make this guy work in the
Yeah,
movie?
it's the same guy too, isn't it?
It's like you got this character right. You have instances of doing it. We're not expecting you to be reinventing the wheel here with Chris Christopherson as Blade's cool vampire doctor. Like, we're just cool with him as a character. Like, he doesn't need to be worse for no reason. So the next thing that happens is we are introduced to our female lead, who is played by Jessica Biel. This is also, I wrote, why is the camera still rotating? And I think that point was that this camera in this movie is always rotating, and there's like no distinction as to like whether or not it's rotating for dramatic effect or rotating for action or rotating to just set the scene. Like, the camera's just always moving, and there's never any like rhyme or reason to why it's doing what it's doing.
Maybe they had like one rig and it got stuck in a loop.
So
And
it
nobody
would spin
bothered
around
to
and they'd be like,
fix
okay,
it.
it's heading towards
Yeah.
you. Start acting again. Okay, cut. Okay, it's zooming around. Okay, and go.
I do feel like
And stop.
in terms of that that scene with the weird fake baby, it's strange how horny all these vampires are for babies, right? Like, because it's twice in this movie that a baby is stolen from a mother, or at least we're led to believe, and the vampire is just like, cool, I got a baby this time.
It's actually three
It's
times.
three-
because they steal that kid at the
It's
end.
3 times. That's true, but that's not a baby. It's weirder to me that it's a baby. Because they seem like primarily focused on the baby.
Yeah, it's like babies don't have that much blood inside them, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they have a lot
Not
less
worth the
blood
effort.
than a person.
they're not going to kick your ass. So, like, put the baby on a bench, fight the full-grown adult, and then maybe go get the baby if you're that dead set on having the
Then deal
baby.
with the baby.
I don't mean to critique these vampires' plans, but, like, dumb and bad.
There's quite a few baby hostages in this
So
movie.
many, right?
Or at least child
Well,
hostages.
it's the only way that they could think to get you emotionally invested in
It did-
anything.
It didn't work. It made me think, God,
It-
why
it
is this
really
movie
didn't.
so aggressive towards babies?
It really didn't. I mean, said, well, can't really reveal ill intentions until the very end, so how are we going to make the audience care? Oh, I know.
Is there a chance that like the director has a kid at this point and is just like so angry at his baby that he's like, what if we kick a baby in this scene?
What if there's actually the extended cut has 4
Yeah.
more baby mishap
With a total of
scenes.
7 baby accidents.
And they were like, okay, I know this is your baby, but metaphorical. This movie is your metaphorical
Right.
baby, but you need to stop kicking these babies in movies.
Yeah, they're like, hey, sit down with me. Can we at least cut the ones that have no vampires in the scene? Can we do that for me?
Can we at least cut the ones that it's not just found footage of Wesley Snipes kicking babies?
Wesley Snipes,
Well dressed up as
his
Blade.
famous 2007 baby kicking rampage.
As we all know about. So 2007 was actually 3 years after the
Yeah,
movie. So
right. No, they went back. It's
so
an extended
it's been
cut.
a few times
It's a director's cut.
with new archival footage now uncovered. I think we should use this as an opportunity to talk about the action in this movie.
Cool.
So I need to know. This is another example of me wondering whether or not I got gaslit by every other movie, but like, why is the action so bad?
so bad,
Why is it so
right?
bad? Why is it so bad? Why do I like feel so sad and lonely when I watch it?
And it feels like it should be good. That's the problem.
Yeah, like it has all the trappings of a good action scene. It just doesn't work. I don't understand.
Yeah, the action is it's just so bland, and I feel like I never got pulled into the action.
At
At
any
all.
point. No,
I feel like
absolutely
it was
not.
like set up, and then boom, nothing. Or it's like, oh,
Yeah,
there's the music, there's the one-liner, terrible action, no payoff.
Yeah, I think it doesn't have that like visceral quality.
You mean like it doesn't
Like, there's no
it doesn't
feeling.
look like anyone's hitting anyone? Because I agree with
Yeah,
that.
there's no momentum and there's no feeling of like moment to moment danger.
Truth. Yeah.
The next notes I made were just lists of like people that I would rather have directed this movie. So
Oh boy.
I said, first thing I said during this scene, I said Ang Lee could have made a better action scene.
Oh.
And then I said, or literally anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, if your bar is Ang Lee, that's rough.
Zack Snyder, Michael Bay, all of them could have made a better action set piece.
I'm trying to think. I'm like racking my brain to think if there's a single action set piece in this that works for me.
I think we're about to get to it. So the next scene is the police interrogation
Oh
room.
yes.
This one, it has this scene where the psychological profiler, John Michael Higgins, is like, hey, I think you're just crazy and that you believe all these vampires and I think you have all these issues and problems with your mother or whatever. And I just think like, I can see what they're trying to do here. They're trying to like get you to like recontextualize the movies or like kind of question yourself a little bit. Blade is not the movie that people go to wanting to question themselves. Like we
Not at
all
all.
understood the context and we're all totally on board with
Yeah,
it.
what this movie does for like 14 seconds is what all of the movie Glass is about. Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this one is like maybe we don't know what's going on. No, we do. It's vampires. It's cool.
But I think the escape sequence that happens right after is the most fun.
That is a fun set piece. Can I ask you guys a question right before that? Just because I don't want to lose it. When Blade gets his like serum, right? That he gets the thing that gives him all his Blade powers back or whatever. He's got a big boner, right? In that moment, like, did we all see that? He's got just the biggest possible boner. Because if you don't think so, watch it again.
Well, I watched it with my laptop in front of me to take notes, and so maybe that was just exactly that square of
Yeah, you know,
covered up.
Did you have your notes set at dick height? Was that the problem?
maybe. I don't know if I want to go back though.
I'm not kidding. It is like it's all out. It's all there. Like it is. It's unquestionable because most of the time you see that and you're like, oh, what a dumb 12-year-old joke. Like, haha, he's got a boner. It's probably just like a wrinkle in the pants, right? No, this is guaranteed boner. Like 100%. Without question,
why are you
provedly boner.
Why are you so concerned about pointing this out?
Because
to
I
us?
need to know if anyone else in the world has seen this.
I have not.
I did not notice. And
Heavy
I
is
will not be watching it again to look for that.
I think that was some Freudian boner projection that you were just
Lincoln.
feeling.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown of truth. Okay, so
Heavy is the head that wears the crown of
Yeah.
truth. Did Shakespeare say that?
I'm pretty sure.
And he's got a boner.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I cannot express how grateful I am that our shot is shoulders up for you right now.
Preston. No, hold on. Preston, do you have any thoughts on Blade's boner?
No.
Or just
Yeah, on
actually,
a scale
you
of
know what?
1 to 10.
Preston, do you have
Nothing.
any thoughts on Blade's penis in general? Doesn't have to be boner specific.
Hey, Preston, Google Rorschach test and tell us which one looks like Blade's boner to you.
Once again, Lincoln.
Actually,
I will
Jonathan,
not.
why don't you do the same thing?
Preston, just let us know if all of them do. That's where we really have a problem.
So,
Okay, so what do you feel
So-
worked about this escape scene? Because I vehemently disagree with you.
oh, you don't think it was a fun scene?
I do not think it was a fun scene. I will give you that it is the most fun scene in the movie, but that's
That's what I'm trying to say.
like saying that like God, I did not have a single metaphor for that. I was gonna go for like a spot on a brown banana, but then I realized like I'd have to paint the whole word picture of the brown banana to you guys, and there's nothing quite worth it on that one. Guys, we're down to the cherry
Okay.
juice on my drink, just so you know,
Holy
in case
beans.
anybody's
You drank
wondering
that fast.
what happened to me.
Well, I'll tell you why I like this action set piece, and why I think I agree with you. It's the best in the movie. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think it is fun. I think I like that it's confined. So I like that the characters are always battling kind of against their environment. They don't just get to smash through everything in their way.
When you say confined, do you mean confined to an infinite series of hallways?
Yes. I don't care if the geography doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Why would you?
I like a character shouting, "Yes, I can shoot through corner or around corners," and then taking out a bow and then bouncing the arrow off that bow off a guy and then hitting another guy and killing that guy. I don't know. It does something for me. It's like just blatant and wanton disregard for just how things work in this human world that we live in.
Isn't this the scene where Jessica Alba's character does like the weird like double unzip thing?
It's not Jessica Alba. It's Jessica Biel.
Oh, my bad. Jessica Biel, where she does like the weird zip thing, and then suddenly.
How
she
dare
doesn't
you
have
confuse those
sleeves
two?
anymore.
Yeah, how dare you confuse the two most confusable Jessicas?
Sorry. Say your thing one more time, Preston.
So I'm pretty sure it's in the scene where Jessica Alba's character.
Bud,
Did I get it
hey
right?
Bud,
I'm just gonna edit you. I'm gonna edit Beal
Yeah, is
this
back
the scene
into that
where
right
can
now.
we
Jessica
get
Biel's
hold on?
character-
Can we get a clear take of him saying Jessica Biel, and then you can just cut that in wherever he says Alba?
Yeah, go ahead. Or I'll just impersonate him. Jessica Biel.
That's pretty good. Can I do mine?
we're
Jessica Biel.
Jessica
Yeah, do
Biel.
yours.
So I'm pretty sure it's in the scene where Jessica Biel does a weird double unzip, and suddenly she's like sleeveless. Like I think it's like right before she draws her bow.
This is that scene though.
Yeah, she is
But
sleeveless.
It's like she
it
does
is that scene.
and then it's just sort of like, oh, now she's sleep. It's like I think that is the perfect example of what is wrong with every action. Like everything about this movie is, it's like building, and then it goes nowhere. Like it gets interrupted by something, and then it has to start building all over again.
100%.
And it's
Yeah, but counterpoint, Jessica Biel looks great in a tank
She's
top.
pretty yoked in this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. She was
Yeah, she's freaking shredded. She's buffer than I am.
crazy.
a low bar, Lincoln.
I know it is, but I did notice that, and I actually did write it down that she was shredded, and I was like, your arms look great. It's of course they're gonna show you sleeveless because you did a lot of work.
I mean, that is true. I do like that why wear sleeves if you're gonna unzip them? What do you gain from? Was it nippy out? Like what do you get out of that?
Hey, maybe it was.
Maybe it was. This is probably New York or Ontario or wherever this is set.
Whatever city it is, it has no there's no one
This
lives
is
there.
the cleanest, least inhabited city I've ever seen.
And I think the other reason that this action scene works well is that it has a really good Wesley Snipes slow motion walk.
He does do a solid slow motion walk, which
You know,
I think at this point is kind of the only walk he can do because I assume he was either dead asleep or high for 98% of this movie.
Potentially both. You never know.
It could be both. It might be both. He brings nothing to this, which is so sad because Wesley Snipes is, and I can't even begin to blame him because he's great in the first two. So it's clearly not his fault.
He does talk a lot more in this one.
Maybe it is his
ones.
fault. Maybe he was just designed to be sort of a drive protagonist.
The first two, like, he has this such, I think he still does in this one, this amazing sense of like how to stand and how to pose. Like he's so good at like just eating up the scenery and eating up every action
that is so true.
piece he's in.
Yeah.
But then in this one, he opens his mouth and every time he talks, I'm like, who is that?
It's like he's reading off of like a guy right off the side of the screen holding cards that just say like, damn.
Yeah.
Which I think it's really funny that you pointed out that he talks a lot in this movie, and yet I could not remember a single line that he says. And I definitely about halfway through saw him on the screen and said, wait, has he spoken?
Has he said words?
Like,
well, okay, what we're comparing it to is, what's the line from the first one? So, like, it's something like,
some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate
yeah,
uphill.
it's that one. Like, you can't, to compare it to that, now this is him just being like, sometimes I like to shoot vampires. You're like, that sucks. That's a bummer.
Like he just has no presence when he talks.
He has no presence at any point in this movie. There was a point, I did the same thing you did, Preston. There's a point where he shows up in this movie and I'm like, oh, that's cool. A Blade cameo in this movie. That's exciting.
A Blade cameo in this Ryan Reynolds joint.
it very much feels like a Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel.
Yeah, he did.
And like I feel like her intro is so much cooler than Blade's.
Definitely.
By a long shot.
For sure.
Yeah, I think this movie's kind of like it wants to not be about Blade, but they have to keep remembering that it's a Blade movie.
That's so true. Yeah, Blade shows up and they're like,
oh, this is a Blade movie.
Blade.
Wesley Snipes' contract is still a thing. What are we gonna do?
He executive produced this. He's on set. The camera's turning towards him. We have to make him say something.
We have to pay him. This movie really does reek of contractual obligation, doesn't it? Like,
it really does. Blade's destiny should be to silently chase the plot around until the bad guy gets him, and then he powers up somehow and takes the bad guy down.
that's what you want. That's what we all want.
That's all we need in a Blade movie. He needs to silently chase the story around, and then he doesn't find it, but then the bad guys kidnap him anyways.
Yeah, and they try to put him in a box like Barbie,
him.
and then it's all what we need, and then he gets his big vampire powers again.
And then he learns to respect the women in his life, and then he learns a valuable lesson about feminism and the experience of being a woman in today's patriarchal society.
That's right.
And then he cuts a dude's head off with his awesome silver blade.
Yeah. That's what I want in a vampire movie. If you're listening, Marvel.
That's what I want in a Blade movie.
Did any of Ryan Reynolds' lines work for you guys, even at all? Like, even slightly?
There was a single
Okay.
one. There was a single line that made me laugh.
Which one was it?
And it was later on. He's talking and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had a lot of sugar today." And I was just like, yes, he is, because it was just like that sounds like something that like a 5-year-old young boy would say to somebody because his parents said that to him.
It does. It sounds like something that a parent would say, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's had a lot of sugar. Anyway, good luck."
So I just appreciate Ryan Reynolds like self-censoring or self-correcting that way. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I had a lot of sugar today. I know who I am.
Well, that's what he was telling to
I know
the
that I
crew
am.
halfway through the scene when he wasn't supposed to be talking.
Yeah. And they just kept it.
And they're like, "This guy's got something."
Oh man.
I gotta
Let's
admit,
not
I
kill him
do
off
like
halfway through.
I do like how none of his jokes land in the story.
Yeah.
Like, I like that nobody thinks he's funny.
Yeah.
Like, watching people not laugh at Ryan Reynolds gives me a certain kind of joy.
His entire character just doesn't need to exist.
No, it doesn't. And you get
Like-
horrible lines like, "Have you ever been laid?" And the guy goes, "Many times with ladies." I've never watched a movie and been less interested in reacting to it ever.
I made a note about that. I said, why is he such a bully? This man is just like giving you useful information about the bad guy, and you're just choosing to insult him like this. Also, this is jumping back just a little bit, but remember when they take a single scale of Dracula's armor and use it to construct an entire 3D model of this man?
You can also tell that this movie saw Matrix But then,
Yes.
actually, I
Well-
take that back. I feel like this is whoever made this movie saw like Matrix 2 and 3 and went, "What a cool movie! I'm gonna make that."
Well, it's this weird full circle thing because the Matrix was like, we're gonna take some of these aesthetics and like totally recontextualize
Yeah.
them and make a like just kind of have similar like set pieces in an otherwise very different movie. And then this one's like, why don't we just do what the Matrix did and not change anything interesting? So I want to talk about their plan to they made a virus that only works on vampires and they're going to unleash it. Is that genocide?
That's a little Lincoln. It's a little bit genocide. A little bit, it's genocide. But counterpoint, in this movie's universe, not once have we seen a vampire be even a little bit cool about anything for a single second. So
That's true. Vampires do not have any chill in this
none,
universe.
zero. They have no chill. It's like they're like the worst part of any person you could possibly imagine.
I guess I'm just very uncomfortable with this fictional concept of like it's okay to do a genocide if they really are all
If
bad.
they're bad, it's okay to do a genocide. I'm more worried, not that this movie like doesn't question that, but that I didn't question that until you said that.
Until now.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't know. It gave me really weird vibes because I'm cool with the bad guys getting coded as like eugenicists and racists and like old money kind of
Sure.
people. It makes sense to them that the bad guys are concerned about a pure bloodline or about like they're the superior race. But why are the good guys worried about Dracula's pure blood?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Counterpoint. They don't do a genocide in this movie, technically.
They don't end up doing a genocide. Okay, let's move
Anyway.
on. Dracula walks into a novelty Dracula shop.
There's a Dracula
and,
store. Is that a real thing?
gets really mad.
Is the Dracula store a thing
I've
that
never
exists?
been to a Dracula store. I mean, depends on what city they're in. I assume like a big enough city could have like enough business to support a Dracula specific
Doesn't
store.
it feel like it would be Portland though, or like Austin, like one of those cities where they're like, "This is weird." And
Yeah,
we're
it's one
cool
of those
with
weird
it.
cities. We're weird because we like kitschy 60s Universal Monsters
Yeah.
stuff.
Is there a Frankenstein store?
Yeah, it's right across the street.
It's just like a block of Universal Monsters.
No, actually, it's seasonal. So like, since it's early May, they switch it. They make it the Dracula store, and then in November it'll switch to being the Frankenstein
love
store,
that.
and then it's the Mummy store,
And then it's a Spirit Halloween, and then nothing
then it's a
happens.
Spirit Halloween for 3
Yeah.
weeks. Then nothing happens for like for another
And
2
in that
weeks.
section, it's the Invisible Man store.
It's just
Yeah.
empty. They tell you that you're not allowed to go into the Invisible Man store and try to buy anything, but I know
Oh, no,
better. I know what they're trying to
They'll
pull.
take your money. It's just they are a guy in the alley. Is that what an NFT is? I think I just got him.
It's where you buy Count Chocula from an Invisible Man. Guys, this is a keeper. This is a keeper of
We're
an
actually
episode.
making an episode of a podcast, which hasn't been true every time. And I'm
Somehow
very
it's
sorry
going
about
better
that.
than last time.
I think it's a fun quirk that Jessica Biel's character makes playlists.
Do you think that's a
Before a
fun
fight.
quirk? I think that's the most annoying thing I've ever seen.
There was going to be a turn to that sentence, but the problem is one, the music never lines up with her like pressing play on the
Right.
music. It's just playing already, and so it's like this feeling of like that the music is coming from her doesn't like read when you actually watch a movie. Second of all, how can any single person listen to just like generic electronic house music all the time?
Well, I would assume she has multiple iPods a la Baby Driver, where one of them is her fighting iPod, and that's where she's got all of her electronic music. And then the other one is like her bath iPod, and then like a park walking iPod, and that's just got like a bunch of Lumineers on it. I assume that's what's going on.
And there's got to be a distinct iPod just for gains,
For sick gains and getting swole.
sick arm gains.
Yeah, definitely. No, absolutely.
They really do make a big deal out of that in the movie, though, and it never pays off. It never. I think, and there's only like one shot of her actually fighting with earbuds in.
Right, that's very true.
Yeah, it's lame. Like I think it's fine. I think her sitting in the back seat with her 2000 5 Mac Pro syncing over FireWire to the iPod. I like the vibe. I think it's fine. It's got this like crunchy, gross like 2000s quality to it, but I just really they don't go anywhere.
I do love when she puts the earbuds in and she has to like loop the wire around her back, and you're like, man, what a day that was.
What an era.
When I used to walk and then sometimes my thumbs would get caught in it and tear out my eardrums. It was just such a wonderful time.
This movie makes Spider-Man 3 look like, well, Spider-Man 3.
It also
Spider-Man 3
makes
is
it
actually
look
pretty
quite
good.
a bit more like Spider-Man 1 and 2.
There are too many daylight scenes in this movie.
In this movie about vampires, I agree with you.
Like, there's just far too much daylight. It's like, this movie needs to be gritty and grungy, and like, you should be able to smell the grease on the walls.
I can smell nothing in this movie, and that's upsetting to me. Sometimes I like to say things just to see Preston's disappointed face.
I would fully agree with you. This movie does not have a smell to it at all.
No olfactory presence
It doesn't
whatsoever.
have a look. It doesn't have a smell.
Barely even has a taste.
It almost doesn't have a taste. Yeah, what's next? What do we got?
We have the chase scene, the pretty boring chase scene where he chases Dracula, and then Dracula disappears, bent on making this movie last even longer.
Let's say there's a chase scene in this movie.
Why does Dracula talk like that? Why does he talk so weird?
Well, because he's got to be a big Dracula man.
I like it. So there, that chase scene, it's dumb.
It's dumb.
Once again, there's a chase scene. What happens in this chase scene?
They're definitely, it's like on foot.
very
It's not
liberal.
on a car, if that helps. There's no cars involved. It's on foot through a couple of buildings, onto a roof.
You see how much better Wesley Snipes is
that's
at like
right.
jumping
Yeah,
than that other guy.
It's like, oh, look, vampires can somehow smash through walls.
Yeah, and then he
Yeah,
does
right.
that ridiculous little jump up onto the ledge. It's
I'm there.
adorable.
I'm there.
Yeah. I think we cannot fault it for Blade doing ridiculous jumps.
I think
I'm here for Blade doing ridiculous little jumps.
I'm not saying it's a bad concept. I'm saying I wish the ridiculous little jumps didn't feel like an accident. I wish the movie
He's just too
had
strong for his own
the
good.
balls to have him do more ridiculous little jumps, so I didn't go, did you just not have a way to cut? Like, was there other action in there that you cut out?
I mean, that's why the action in this movie is so lame. It's that all of Wesley Snipes' poses look so good.
Yeah, so you see a pose and then all of a sudden you're like, wait. And then you realize that you're watching Blade Trinity. And then Ryan Reynolds comes in and flips off the camera and then takes it off his pants and moons us. It's in the extended cut. It's in the baby
Yeah,
kicking
that's my
cut.
bad. I watched the theatrical.
So the next scene that happens, do you want to keep going chronologically or do you want to switch
We've
to general
we've
thoughts?
almost landed the plane, chronologically speaking.
We've almost landed the planes. So we see the blood farm.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of horrifying.
Yeah, where everybody's
it's
like
the one
vacuum
instance
sealed.
of like actual. Yeah, I think that was actually kind of gross and creepy.
I agree. I forgot that scene is so interesting. I forgot it was in this movie.
You're like, people couldn't have possibly
Yeah,
been in this.
I was
movie.
like, that must have been Blade 2, where the good thing happened.
And it's one of those things. Like, it is interesting, but it's so frustrating because you're like, this could have we could have made a movie about just a vampire who's doing this kind of thing.
For sure, yeah. And I like that in this movie, there's a guy who's like, I'm going to do a genocide against humans. And we're all like, bad. That's no good. Don't do that.
No good. Humans are good. Humans are fine.
We've seen plenty of evidence in these movies that at least Blade is good. And he's half human, so...
I need to know something. So the next thing that happens after that is Dracula invades Dracula.
Thank you. Lincoln, every time you say it not
the house.
good, and then you say it extremely good.
Dracula invades the warehouse, and he he kills everybody, and then he almost kills the one girl who's blind, right?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he did.
And she's like dying. She's like hanging on the wall, and she's
Yeah,
dying.
like
and
a
then,
Jesus would.
Then, like a Jesus would, and then Jessica Biel cuts her out like off of the wall, and then is holding her, and Blade just goes, "Use it, use it." What's he talking
use
about?
Your rage.
Is that
She's definitely
Really?
a dead person.
100%.
Yeah, that's a corpse
Yeah,
she's
she
holding.
gone.
Yeah.
I don't. Why is Blade saying you?
Use
I
your
thought he
rage,
was saying like
So he's.
anger.
I was gonna say he's doing a Palpatine kind of thing. Strike me down.
Do it.
It's, I feel like there's definitely a scene in this movie where she talks about how she just like represses her rage all the time, and then somebody was like, well, that's a bit like woke, isn't it? That's upsetting. Women having emotions. We shouldn't do that. And then
No, women should have biceps.
they shouldn't have emotions. They should have biceps and tunes.
They should deal with it the same way men deal with it. By getting swollen and listening to terrible music.
And shooting people by bouncing arrows off of other people. Like a man
Just like
would.
all men. So the next thing that happens is Ryan Reynolds.
I just want
Yeah,
to say
he's
getting
got it
captured.
nailed
crushing it here.
down.
Really doing
You
a
should
great job moving this movie forward.
get a T-shirt that says, so the next thing that happens is...
The next thing that happens is I think that what is this, 4 episodes in? I think we're ready to expand.
It's
into
about
merch
time to
at this
finally
point.
open a merch shop. All 3 of our listeners have been clamoring.
So go to twinkie-talk.biz
.biz.org.gov.
.biz.org.gov and buy your so the next thing that happens is ... t-shirt today. Ryan Reynolds gets captured and he's making jokes because he's got a sprightly charm about him that he's got to show the camera.
He sure does.
One of the other vampires shouts, "We are not saying the word dick anymore."
Yeah, they do. They do. They like full on go, okay, we're done with that in this script. No thanks.
And this is just a counterexample to you. This is an example of a vampire having a little bit of chill and being cool.
Okay, you know what, Lincoln, now that you say that, I do think genocide's bad. Thank you for turning me around on that. I think you have shown me the error of my ways. Now that vampire said we got to stop using the word dick so much, I think we shouldn't do a genocide to all of them.
And the same vampire tells Ryan, "I know what you really fear. You fear becoming a vampire again. But that is incorrect. That's wrong, because what he actually fears is challenging dramatic roles."
Yeah, it's not like whatever his character name was, Lincoln. I know you know for some reason.
Hannibal King.
What a dumb name. That's like, those are the 2 least interesting names they could have chosen for that guy.
Yeah, they really should have just called him Ryan.
Yeah, or
Reynolds.
just like Billy Chestnut. That'd be something.
Billy Chestnut, intrepid boy detective.
Yeah.
Don't worry, mister. Billy Chestnut is on the case. I'll figure out which vampire killed your wife and child.
How did you...
Buy your Billy Chestnut is on the case t-shirts now at twinkie-talk.biz.
How'd you get him so fast? He just like, he inhabited your body for a second. I want to add to the goof, but I can't do it.
I'm calling an exorcist.
Oh man. All right. Well, it was nice to see you, Billy. I'll see you in another 100 years, as I assume this is how that works.
Can we have Billy Chestnut just as a 4th character on this podcast?
What character on We'll phone in Billy Chestnut. It's
Billy-
like an option.
He shows up every 4 episodes at the end, and he just says like, "You guys are dumb." Billy, say that for us.
And that was more entertaining than the entirety of Blade 3.
Definitely it was. It's not even close. So what happens next, Lincoln? The next thing that happens is...
What happens next? Oh, no, but there's an arrow montage beforehand.
There is the dumbest sound I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah. She keeps shooting arrows. And so I don't know a lot about bows, but like I don't think you can just like dial them so that they just continuously get stronger every time you pull them.
I'm pretty sure you can if you use your rage. I'm pretty sure if you use it.
Preston, I have this weird feeling that you know more about bowmanship
He
than us.
definitely does.
So
What do you got?
would you care to elucidate?
Let me consult the expert. Preston, you know cool things about what adults might do in their downtime. What happens here?
I don't know if I'm more of an expert on archery than the 2 of you.
Yeah, but look at us and then say that out loud.
But no, that is not at all how that works. Because the feet per second, the speed, which is what that machine is measuring.
Yeah.
You would not be able
FPS.
to increase the speed of your arrows by simply just believing in yourself.
So it is a montage. So could we possibly believe that she was like somehow like adjusting the pull weight on the bow?
I mean, potentially.
She was like tightening the bow so that it lets it out
Pick me.
faster.
Oh, pick me.
Yes,
Pick me.
Jonathan.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
hey,
ahead.
Hi. Thank you, Senator. It's me, John Bonjour of the Dum Dum Times. Would you say that it's possible to increase your speed and or strength and or cool bow hitting power if you want it bad enough?
No, you'd have to adjust.
Yeah, Senator. I actually have the same question.
Yeah,
string
okay.
tension.
Okay. What about personal tension, like heart tension? If your heart's real tense?
Yeah. I've heard about the phrase heart strings.
Oh.
Does that have anything to do with archery?
Is there something there?
Unfortunately,
Senator?
you guys try that out and let me know how it works out for you.
Yeah, we will.
Well, what if she used it?
Yeah, no, that's
Guys, what if she
Lincoln,
used it?
that's a good question. What if you did in fact use it?
Yeah, what if she just fucking
Yeah,
used it?
what if she went on ahead and used it? What if she stepped up to the plate and used it?
And it used it. What if she took that weird, dumb compound bow that can shoot around corners and used it?
What if she swiped her bus card, got on the bus, took a nice ride, got off the bus, and used it?
What if she sat at the bench press, did 100,000 curls, ripped off her tank top sleeves, and used
What if she
it?
flew directly into space with the power of biceps and then just used it?
What if she downloaded R&B electronica on iTunes Music Store for 99 cents a piece, and she got her iPod Classic out and plugged in the FireWire to her Mac Pro and synced over 120 hot new tracks and used it?
Now
what about
follow up. What if she got a gift card to Second and Charles from her grandma who knew she liked nerd shit? And then she went to a Second and Charles, used that gift card, found out that there was actually just $2, not $20, because her grandma's bad at typing numbers, and then used it
to buy a single secondhand
to
book?
get 3/4 of the novel Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, what if?
What if she did that?
We're blowing this thing wide open.
With the bow work then pressed it.
No,
Okay, cool.
I don't believe so.
So what happens?
we're good.
What happens next, Lincoln?
But I
So they have one special evil arrow that can kill Dracula. So they got to use it right. And so they go into the bad guy's base. So they have one special arrow. They go to the villain's base, which, unlike every other movie where the base actually has some sort of dramatic or thematic importance to the story,
Hey.
this base is completely anonymous and doesn't have a
This one's
location.
got stairs. What are you talking about? It's got some stairs. It's got some stairs and a piece of glass. They do a big jump over the
Do you
glass.
see
and
a
the stairs.
single character ingress or egress this building?
Excuse me? Those.
Does a
That's
single
enter
character
and
walk
exit,
into
John.
or exit out
Thanks,
of
Preston.
this
You
building?
know I'm a dum dum from
covered.
Dum Dum Times.
I mean, John, honestly, I had to look up the word umbrage because you've now used that at least twice in this one episode, and
Yeah, Umbridge is the bad guy from the 5th Harry Potter book.
No, that's Umbledore. I'm pretty sure.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay.
I get them all
Yeah,
mixed
it's
up.
okay. Not all of us can be Harry Potter experts like I am.
So so anyways, they go to this terrible base, which really should have been a nightclub. It has all the trappings of one, except it's empty. And there's one of the most disappointing sword fights I've ever seen.
I do like that I like the line. This is the only line from Dracula that worked for me, and I can't tell you why because it's the dumbest line in the movie. But Blade says something, motherfucker, and Dracula goes, motherfucker, I like that. And then he tries to fight him real good.
And I wrote, why isn't he in his monster form for this climactic fight? And he turns into it, but why wasn't he
Too
the whole
little,
time?
too late, mon frere. Like, it's no good at that point.
And by the whole time, I mean the entire movie. Like, why wasn't he just a monster?
Thank you. This has been my problem with this movie the whole time. Make him a big, yucky man. This is what we do. It's what we deserve.
Use of the word yucky. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about you just saying yucky.
He's a big,
like
yucky
that.
man.
I don't know.
He's got all the yuck to him. Did you have
Okay.
thoughts on the vampire dogs? Like, did you?
No, but they're kind of like this really terrible first draft of the dogs from Stranger
They
Things.
did feel very Stranger Thingsy.
how the sides of their mouths open up, and then it's this weird sense of like, okay, we learned our lesson. We got it better next time. We did a better job.
I do appreciate that the dogs
like if Stranger Things was made in the 2000s.
It's just
they
funny.
have zero
Here's a
purpose.
vampire Pomeranian.
That's it.
When you see those dogs with their CGI mouths open, how much did you expect Kevin Hart to just jump out of the side of the frame and start commenting on it?
I expected Kevin Hart's voice to come out of one of those dogs, is what I thought was going to happen. Can you put...
Then the next thing that happens...
Okay, I got questions about the vampire dogs. If nobody else is going to talk about the vampire dogs, I'm going to hold the torch for these vampire dogs. Can you put vampire DNA in other animals? Is that assumed?
I don't know. Maybe it was like there was like a dogula, if you will, that was the source of all vampire dogs.
Blade Trinidog?
Trinidog?
Presumably, vampires get lonely. You bite a dog, and then suddenly, boom.
Yeah, man's best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Preston, vampires don't bite humans because they're lonely. What were you trying to imply?
Disagree. They definitely do. That's exactly what it is.
Did you not hear the whole Ryan Reynolds, like why he was in the movie?
You mean cash? Like a dump truck full of cash, I assume?
Yeah, because Preston, Ryan Reynolds was not, in fact, using it.
No, he used it not at all. Yeah.
Movie. Wait, I need to know what you're trying to say, though. I still don't get it.
Well, it was like the whole thing is like he was like dating the one chick, one with the second coolest name in the movie, Danica Talos.
All right.
Yeah, only second to Bensley Tittle.
My bad. Third coolest name in the movie.
Because what is the second coolest? Blade?
Are you counting Blade?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you kind of have to.
Because it's not Heathridge Church King or whatever Ryan Reynolds' name is.
And it's not Abigail.
Okay, wait. What are you trying to say? So he dates that chick.
Right. And presumably was turned into a vampire. Right.
By her.
Exactly.
Because she was
lonely.
Oh, you're saying that... Oh, I thought you were trying to imply that the vampire wanted to have sex with a dog.
Oh, you thought
they're
sexually
lonely.
lonely, not man's best friend lonely.
No, yeah, okay. I get it now. We're good.
John, please tell me...
No, I was tracking with you. Not once
Okay.
did the thought of sexual vampire dogs enter my mind.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a miscommunication on my part.
No, it was 100% Lincoln just putting his own kind of hopes and dreams on that one.
Lincoln, you're clearly not using it right now.
Yeah. Hey, Lincoln, can you go on ahead and use it?
So that's pretty much the movie. It ends after that.
What a great movie. Man, I love that movie.
Blade 2.
Blade 3. Blade Trinity. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think this movie used it?
10.
Preston?
7 3/4.
I'm gonna give it an 8.35.
That's a pretty... Our average is like a 8.5 now.
Yeah.
Regardless of what we thought about this movie, we are sure that it, in fact, did
It
use
used
it.
it, and I think that's how we measure movies from now on. I think that's gonna be it.
We're rounding the corner. We're ready to talk about what our next film is going to be.
Indeed we are.
Pressed Tone's turn.
It is my turn. My new choice, because I have one.
Okay.
I'm at least prepared. It is still 2000s. It's not quite as grungy.
Yes.
It's kind of grungy. So you're watching
Yeah.
Wanted.
Oh no! Why did I spend so much of my youth watching terrible movies when I could have just waited for this podcast? I feel like every time you guys are like, we're gonna watch this, and I'm like, son of a bitch, every time.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
Tell
yeah,
us
we
what the
have
homework
homework.
is.
Okay. Premise behind this movie, there's a group of assassins. And they kind of have this front of a weaving operation. And so your homework is to figure out, if you were founding your own fraternity of assassins, what your front would be.
Well, thank you all for listening to Twinkie Talk presented by the Evening Brothers. I have been Brother John.
I have been Brother Lincoln.
I'm Brother Preston.
He is currently Brother Preston. We all did past tense except Preston. So
I
Except
always
Preston.
screw this up. You
Well-
guys know that.
Preston is eternal. Bye, everybody.
yeah, I think we're done. Keep it real. Do we end with keep it real now? What happens? Use it. All right.